Hi everyone. Today I will be giving a short presentation on the results of my investigation on which lifestyle factors impact blood pressure and whether smoking is one of them. So let's get started. There are two specific questions being investigated. One, which lifestyle variable has a significant impact on blood pressure? And two, what effect does smoking have on blood pressure? To answer these questions, I have been working with the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, or the NHANES dataset. This dataset being used in this project contains data between the years of 2011 and 2012 for 743 individuals. Reflected in the data is individual information on 17 different categories, consisting of the response variable, systolic blood pressure, and 16 predictor variables. 9 of those 16 predictors are categorical variables. Some initial exploratory data analysis showed that non-smokers appeared to have higher average blood pressure than smokers, but some further analysis showed that blood pressure is rightly skewed in this dataset, which means most of the observations recorded is higher than the healthy range of 120 millimeters of mercury and below. A quick glance on these graphs show that there are more white males captured in the data. The population captured in the dataset is shown to be overweight as inferred from the right skew of the BMI histogram. Age appears to be almost uniformly distributed with a few dips and peaks, and there are more non-smokers in the dataset than there are smokers. Keeping our second research question in mind, if we look closely at the relationship between blood pressure and age, there is a very slight upward trend in both smokers and non-smokers. Now, visually, we can't confirm anything, so we will move on to building multiple regression models in search of the best predictor variables. To answer our research questions, the following methodology was undertaken. First, a full model containing all the predictors was built. Second, model assumptions were checked and they were held, but diagnostics showed that there were outliers in the model. Therefore, influential point analysis was done to remove any data points which may have been skewing the results. Third, variance influencing factor testing was done to find and remove multiple correlated predictors. Then 6 variable selection methods were employed to find the best model. They were the partial F-test, AIC criterion, BIC criterion, lasso, elastic net, and a custom model made with variables based on research. 5. Cross-validation was performed and prediction errors were calculated and compared to select the best model which contained the best predictors for blood pressure. 6. Model diagnostics were run again, and influential point analysis was also run on the newly selected model, and the prediction errors were compared. For the more tech-savvy members of our audience, please refer to the linked R Markdown for complete details on the experiment. Moving on to the results of the analysis. From the 6 different variable selection methods tested, including one custom model, the Bayesian information criterion and the partial F-test returned the lowest prediction errors. The graph for partial F-test and BIC are very close to the ideal line, and they look much better than the graphs from the other methods. To answer the first research question, based on the partial F-test, age and gender have a significant impact in predicting blood pressure. The BIC criterion also returned the same predictors. Unfortunately, the adjusted R-squared is very low, which means that the regression model doesn't explain most of the variability in the data, and that there may be other confounding factors which may be impacting the results. To answer our second question, the ANOVA table shows that there is a significant interaction between age and smoking. The highlighted coefficient is the interaction factor, and the way to interpret this is that keeping gender constant, a 1-year increase in age can decrease the average blood pressure reading by 0.157 units in smokers. In addition, the graph at the bottom shows that at younger ages and at very old ages, there isn't much interaction between age and smoking, as indicated by the parallel lines of smokers and non-smokers. This may be explained by the fact that young people, on average, have healthy hearts, so smoking doesn't have much of an impact, and older people, on average, have weaker hearts, which may not necessarily be related to smoking, so the impact may be clouded by other underlying diseases. More research is needed to understand this interaction. In conclusion, gender and age were found to be significant predictors of blood pressure using the partial F-test for variable selection. Smoking by itself does not have a very strong impact on blood pressure, but smoking interacts with age to decrease the average blood pressure reading regardless of gender. Influential point removal shouldn't be done without investigation. Sometimes the removal of too many influential points can negatively impact model predictions. Variable selection methods should not be used blindly. The simplest methods sometimes return the best results. And finally, the current dataset captures many extreme observations for certain variables. In the future, the results of this experiment should be compared with models trained on a dataset containing more balanced observations. This is the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for listening.